How's it going, guys? It's Gary here, MexiGary, and it's time for the Lovely Stuff podcast, which should be out every Monday, but I've missed the last couple, I think, just because we've just been a little bit busy. We've been playing pub gigs through the week as usual, and weddings at the weekend, and we had a showcase or two to do, and also we had a wedding this Tuesday just gone, which is kind of unusual for this time of the year. Normally the midweek weddings will come in the summertime when people still want a summer wedding, but you know, they don't want to pay like ridiculous money for a Friday or Saturday night in a big stately estate or big posh hotel. So yeah, fair enough. I would do the same thing. In fact, I would probably have if I was going to get married, if I ever found anybody like stupid enough to marry me, I would probably have my wedding at one of our pub gigs. I would have my wedding reception at probably either Box or Howlin' Wolf on a Wednesday or Thursday night, just so that, and I would still play. We'd still be the band because you save a bit of money that way, you know what I mean? Plus, by that time of the night, we normally play at 11 o'clock. So you're playing 11 till 2. Everybody's hammered anyway. And plus, by that point, you've probably got married at like 1 or 2 in the afternoon. And, you spent the whole day sitting beside each other, and like pretending that, not pretending. We would be pretending. I'm just picturing my already failed marriage. It's just I can't even be optimistic about my fantasies. It's just it's all gonna go to shit. I know it. Anyway, so that's how I would do mine. I would just like my own wedding at a pub of my usual of our usual residencies, and standing there playing fucking Tenacious D in a tuxedo. God, fuck you! I'm playing Killing in the Name to finish with. Fuck you! I won't do what you tell me. I think that's a great first dance because it's kind of like start as you mean to go on in a marriage. Fuck you! I won't do what you tell me. I mean, that might be a one-way sentiment. I don't know which way though, but. Anyway, if you're new to the podcast, my name's Gary, call myself MexiGary, and a lot of people ask me recently in the comments, like, why do you call yourself MexiGary? Well, it's not me, technically it isn't me that called me that, so my first band was called Mexico. I might as well go into the reasons why that is as well. Right, so our favourite band, it was just me and my only friend in high school, which was a guy called Neil Stevenson, and we formed a two-piece band called Mexico because we were both massive fans of the presidents of the United States of America. So we wanted to be called something to do with the country, and it got down to between, like, because it's beside America, it got down to either Mexico or Canada, and I thought, nobody's going to go and see a band called Canada. So I don't know, it was so random. And the other thing was, we used to sit in business class. Was it IT class? Second year, Annan Academy High School. And we used to we didn't even do the work that we were supposed to do, like creating documents and learning how to do all the technical stuff that comes in, folders and, I don't know what we were supposed to be doing, but we would just sit there and make PowerPoint presentations, and then just like at the end of nearly the end of the class, we would just present them to each other, and it was all just the most random nonsense based on the stupid clip art that you used to get on PowerPoint, and one of them was a cactus with a sombrero on, and we used that as the eye for the word Mexico. So you can imagine, I wish I had a picture to show you, but so that's why no, that's not even the full description of why, is it? So my first band was called Mexico, and it was MexiGary and Mexi-Neil. And that's what the people in school started calling us that, because the band was called Mexico of only two people. So it was MexiGary and Mexi-Neil. And I still call him Mexi-Neil. And I'm 41 now, so this must have been 29 years ago. Jesus Christ. We're talking about people. Like, I was born in 1983, so that would have been 1994 or 5. Oh my God. So old. But not as old as some trees. Oh, I must tell you as well, though, Mexi Neil, as he will henceforth be known to you, as he is to 4 other people. The last time we played a show together was last year at Box in Glasgow on Sauchiehall Street, and he filmed the show, or he attempted to film the show on his phone from the back, from like the sound desk, right? So, but it was his old phone, it was his spare phone. Right, so he accidentally left it in my house, and I only just got round this week to posting it down to him in London, because he lives in London now, I'm still in Glasgow. And so when it got to him, and he was really excited to see the footage, because I know it was a great gig, and we talked so much shit between each other and the audience. And it was an originals gig as well. It was all our own stuff from the 2 albums we made, Toucan Rock and How to Fake Talent. We just didn't care. Like, the first album was called Toucan Rock because it was a picture of a toucan on a rock, but it was also like can rock. 2 people can play rock music. Do I have to explain it anymore? No, Gary, we're not that fucking stupid. We're not as stupid as you. I had to have it explained to me. In fact, we did discuss the title of the 3rd album, which was going to be Neil came up with it because he's the clever one, right? He's the witty one of the 2 of us. Amazingly, can you believe that? From a guy that wrote Bread Demon, saying that Neil's the witty one. Right, so the 3rd album was going to be called No Wigs Allowed. Right? I mean, obviously you can get that. You can understand the pun there, can't you? You're pretending to, but you have no fucking idea. I had to have this explained to me about 8 times. So Neil came up with it. Right, the 3rd album is going to be called No Wigs Allowed. Because another way to say that is toupees, as in wigs, banned, right? As in not allowed. So it's no wigs allowed, translates to toupees banned, which is also, it sounds like 2-piece band. That'll never, I don't care if you like that or not, that will never not be funny to me. The fact that, I don't know, I've got no idea, I've still not asked him to this day, 30 years later, like, how did you get to that from us just being a 2-piece band? 2-piece band, 2-piece band, no wigs allowed. Anyway, that was going to be the name of our 3rd album, but unfortunately, we sold out and basically got signed to a subsidiary of Warner Music. Between everybody involved, we completely fucked up the whole thing. We had a good thing going, being a unique 2-piece band that were playing awesome fucking drop D rock songs. You'll probably be able to find it. In fact, I might link it in the comments, in the description, to our SoundCloud page, which has got those 2 albums, Toucan Rock and How to Fake Talent, on it. And we're looking into getting a Spotify page as well, but I don't really see the point because we're not gigging much and we're not promoting anything, so it would literally just be paying to upload it to a platform that's not going to pay us. So fuck Spotify, even though all of my stuff is on there because I'm actively playing it. But I don't know what, maybe you guys have a different idea, a better idea of what I should do with the old tunes. But anyway, yeah, so Neil got his camera, he's got his phone back from this gig. How convoluted is this story already? I was talking to you 5 minutes ago about Dean, how Dean's my brother, how Neil left his phone at the gig that we played last year. And so I only just got round to posting it down to him because I'm fucking useless. And I forget everything unless it's in my diary. And that was in my diary and I still forgot it. But he kept forgetting to remind me as well. So I posted it down to him. He was really excited to look at the footage. And voila, he got it, charged his phone up, it was working fine, and looked at the footage. And it was 40 minutes of us setting up, talking to people, getting a drink, chatting to the sound guy, talking to each other, and then just at the exact second we were about to start playing, play the first chord, the first song, the battery died. It's like, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. This is our first gig in 2 years. We are Mexico. This song is called Live, Lie, and Be Free. And it just cut out right there. You could not write it. So, we're not going to see any footage of that gig, I'm afraid. But suffice to say, I mean, you just have to take my word for it, but it was the greatest gig of all time. I mean, talk about Shea Stadium. You know, you talk about Live Aid, Queen, and U2, all those boys. Phil Collins playing 3 gigs on 3 different continents, whatever. Nah, it all pales into insignificance compared to Mexico live at Box last October 2024. Man, you should have been there. Let's get geeky for a minute, though. Let's talk about the kind of gear that I would use at a gig like that. So it's just me and a drummer. It was just me and Neil, Mexi Neil, as I told you. And you would think, well, you might miss out on, you're probably going to miss out on a lot of bass there. But do you know the band Royal Blood? You know, that's basically a bass player and a drummer, right? So he puts his bass through octave pedals to make it sound like an octave higher. And he's got like a big pedal board. He doesn't actually, I don't think he's ever actually talked about what his specific equipment he uses to make it sound that big. And I never did either. People used to ask me all the time, how do you make it sound that big? Because they would see the pedals in front of me and it would literally just be a tuner. It would be the Boss tuner, the TU2, and the Boss Blues Driver, the BD3. And and I would just say, yeah, it's just them two. And they were like, how are you getting the bass sound though? Is it backing tracks? I'm like, well, do you know what? I take it as a massive compliment that you think that we're clever enough to use backing tracks. Do you see in-ears? Do you see a fucking Mac or a laptop of any kind on the stage? Do you know what I mean? Do you hear any clicks through the monitors? There's no backing tracks going on. It was just me and the drummer. Now, how did I do it? Now, I'm finally, after 30 years of using this method, I'm going to divulge how I did it. And it's not as clever as it sounds. It's not as clever as I think it is. So, first of all, you need to set up your guitar as normal. Your guitar goes into your... Well, first of all, no, you don't set up as normal because you can't put the tuner first. If you, like, let's just say, most of you guys listening to this are probably musicians, right? So you probably assume that if you've got a 2-pedal board consisting of a tuner and a Boss Blues Driver, it's going to be it's going to be guitar into tuner into Blues Driver into the amp. No. What I did was, at the time I was using mostly Telecaster. I was going to say Telecasters, as if I could afford more than one fucking guitar. I was so skint at the time, I was using it was a Squire neck with a Jim Deacon body. It was a Squire Strat neck, I believe, with a Jim Deacon Telecaster body and whatever pickups I could find. I think somebody gave me the pickups because they just felt sorry for me. They were absolutely shit. They squealed, they fed back. Sometimes one of them didn't work. The neck didn't always click on. That was probably due to the wiring. But, oh man, it was, when I think back now to all the guitars I've got now and the beautiful gear that I'm lucky enough to play and rotate, you know, on a daily or weekly basis. And to think back to then, just having one, well, that was my main guitar, which was the Parts Caster. And then the other one, the spare, was an Epiphone Les Paul, which you might have seen in the background on my lives. You know, but anyway, I know I'm keeping you in suspense here, you fucking gear geeks that can't wait to work out or can't wait to find out how I used to get such a big tone across the stage on just one guitar. So the guitar went into my Blues Driver straight away, which was set up just like a normal Blues Driver would be, whatever you want as your, because you would just set it up for your gainy tone. And then into my amp, which was a Laney VC30, right? The one before that was a Marshall AVT 150, right? But it didn't even matter which one of those it was. All you need is an amp with a crunch channel. It can't be completely clean. You need it to be a little bit crunchy. And that's all it needs. That's all it needs. But it also needs, on the back, an emulated line out. Emulated line out. Now, in recent times, I've been told that I could also use a effects out. You know, you get the effects loop on modern amps. Well, I guess you've had them since the 70s and that, maybe the 80s. But, you know, you get effects loop. I'm told that you can have the same effect from the emulated line out by using an effects loop out, right? I haven't tried it. Yeah, when we've done gigs in the past, in recent times with Mexico as a two-piece, I've used my Hughes and Kettner Tubemeister 36, which does have an emulated line out. So I just use that. Right, okay. So anyway, enough about that. So the reason it needs an emulated line out is because you take a line out of the back of the amp. By the way, you've set up the amp with your crunch channel, and you use the blues driver to turn on your gainy sound, you know. I never needed a lead sound because, first of all, I couldn't play lead solos for shit back then. Right? The only bands that I really liked was like Foo Fighters, Rage, but without the solos. You know, because I didn't play the solos. We played some Rage stuff, but it was all just the riffs, you know. What else? There Blink-182, Green Day, some Oasis stuff, but most like the Presidents of the USA. Just anything that was just heavy on the riffs or the chunky power chords, and nothing like Van Halen or AC/DC, you know. Although we did get away with, when we played covers gigs, we could get away with some AC/DC songs, but obviously I would have to kind of like fluff the solos or whatever, just kind of make some sharp so that I could also play the bass notes at the same time. So it never sounded like the record. It didn't even sound like the song sometimes. So where was I at though? So it's guitar into your blues driver, into your front of your amp, as normal, and then out your emulated line out, or possibly the effects loop out. Send. The effects loop send, that's the output I'm thinking of. Effects loop send, you probably noticed that. You probably knew that I'd messed that up there. Excuse me. And then you go from your effects loop out or your emulated line out, you go into your tuner. This is only the reason for this is because I didn't know any better, and what I should have done was go guitar, tuner, Boss Blues driver, and then out of that into an on-off pedal, or like just a mute pedal. You know, you can get them made for like 20 quid, or even just any effects pedal and just set the volume to 0, so that when it's turned on, there's no signal coming out of the emulated line out, because what that then goes to is the front of your bass amp, which is usually on the other side of the stage, right? And then it was just a case of like EQing the bass amp so that the input didn't peak. Because obviously if you're running a guitar amp at full pelt into the front of a bass amp, you're probably going to get some input issues. So you need a bass amp with an input gain so you can take that right down so it's not going to blow the, whatever it is, input transistors or whatever. So you do that, and then with your EQ settings, you just kind of heavy on the bass and like low on the treble. So it's almost like if it's bass on the left and treble on the right, it's just kind of like a line up. You know what I mean? Like the side of a ski ramp, but you know, up the way. A roller coaster, the start of a roller coaster. Ah, Jesus. I'm treating you guys like you don't know what I'm talking about, but you obviously do know what I mean. And I'll be honest with you, like, we won so many Battle of the Bands with that setup. Neil was just playing drums like normal drummers. And he was not like normal drummers. He was one of the funniest drummers. And I mean, his playing was funny. He used to do this fill that was like, he would have a 5-piece kit. So it was snare, tom, tom, tom. Snare, tom, tom, tom. And then bass drum. But he would do this fill that was like, da-do-do-do. It was like, snare, tom, 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 snare. So it was like, dum, cha, dum, cha, dum, cha, dum, cha, dum, cha, dum, cha, da-da-da-dum, da-da-da-da. I think we got that kind of thing from the guys in the Presidents, because the Presidents of the USA guy, what the fuck was his name again? Jason. Oh my, I'm gonna have to Google this because I want to make sure that his name is out there. Jason Finn, Pusat, Jason. Oh yeah, it is Jason Finn. You gotta watch some of Jason Finn's drumming, and he's incredible. Like, and he's so funny with his fills as well. Like I wouldn't try and emulate them right now, but God, that's where we got a lot of our inspiration, because not only were the lyrics funny in the Presidents, you know, moving to the country, going to eat a lot of peaches, And then talking about peaches come from a can, they were put there by a man in a factory downtown. And that was only our gateway drug to the presidents, because when you start getting into their funnier songs like Everybody Wants to Be Naked and Famous, Everybody Wants to Be Naked and in fact, they did a cover of Spoon Man by Soundgarden. And he couldn't remember the words, so they just—I don't know if he just made them up on the spot or if he'd already planned them, but he didn't know that he didn't know the original words. So he was like, Spoon Man goes, all my friends are green and red, all my friends are stop signs, Spoon Man. All my friends are big and tall, my friends shop at the shopping mall, Spoon Man. It's like, all right, it's maybe not funny now that I'm doing it for you, but the song Spoon Man was already funny because Chris Cornell was not exactly known for doing funny lyrics, but that was just a funny song to me. It was just a silly riff, and I can't remember what the lyrics of Spoon Man were actually, but let's check it out. See, one of the good things about having a podcast like this is that I can actually look up shit on my computer and talk to you about it. Well, this is a verse he was referencing. He was saying, all my friends are Indians. All my friends are skeletons. Spoon Man. Spoon Man, come together with your hands. Spoon Man. I mean, even it doesn't matter really, because just the word Spoon Man, it reminds me of Button Moon. That was a kids' TV show in the 80s. In the UK anyway. You guys in America might not know it, or anywhere else in Europe. But yeah, check out Button Moon, man. Oh, it's because the main guy in Button Moon was called Mr. Spoon. How the fuck did I get to talking about Button Moon? This podcast was supposed to be, what was I supposed to be talking about today? Oh yeah, I've got a new collaborative album on the go, right? It's not really collaborative, it's called MexiGary and Friends. It's 10 tracks featuring 10, or I think 12 other local musicians who are not in my band. You know, Gibby and Dean will be part of it. They'll be playing on it, but it also features, every song features a different local artist, and it's partly because I love I just love collaborating with people and having them guest on my songs, and I love guesting on other people's songs as well. It's something that happens not remotely enough, not remotely as much as it should, at least around these parts, because people are, I don't know, man. They're not. I wouldn't say they're into their own thing, but the age that we're all at now, we're all, in our mid-30s, approaching 40, and it's kind of like you separate into your own groups, and I think we all just feel lucky to be playing at all with our own bands. Never mind trying to incorporate other people into it. And it's a beautiful thing. I just think like playing music with people is the coolest thing you can do. Like some people think like cooking somebody a meal, I mean, I think this as well, I think cooking somebody a meal and then giving it to them and then them enjoying it, that's one of the coolest things you can do for somebody, man. Or like just buying them a gift out of the blue. I'm seeing my pal Alex Waite tonight. Alex Waite from the band called the Lockharts, or the band Alex Waite. And I've bought him a set of, just completely randomly, I just saw them on eBay and I thought, he's going to love these. It's a set of 5 beer mats, which are all Goo Goo Dolls album covers, all different album covers of the Goo Goo Dolls. It's like Superstar, Car Wash, A Boy Named Goo, Dizzy Up the Girl, Gutter Flower, and Something for the Rest of Us. And I just seen him on eBay, so I bought them for him. There was only like a tenner, so I was like, no, he's gonna really love that. So plus it's the first time I've seen him in like 3 months, because he'd been in New Jersey with his girlfriend's family and that. So anyway, what was I saying there? Yeah, I was saying like cooking for somebody is one of the most lovely things you can do for them, and I love cooking for people, but they don't like it when I cook for them. Because I cook, my dishes are weird. We'll talk about that another time. But yeah, we're talking about cooking for somebody's night. But see, for me as a musician, and like I can't not play music any day. I need to play music, and being able to play music with people is to me just as special as that cooking analogy. Is it? If it was an analogy that just came out of there, it's such a great thing to be able to go anywhere in the world. I mean, mostly I've not really been further east of the UK than Switzerland. But even when I went to Switzerland, I ended up playing with this guy busking on the street. Couldn't even speak English. And I mean me. And yet we were just jamming like brown-eyed girl and Sweet Home Alabama, just all the standards, you know what I mean? And then I go to the States and they can't understand me sometimes. You know, I had a guy, they call him the Doctor. He goes to the Nashville Jam Night at Bourbon Street Blues and Boogie Bar on Printer's Alley. And they call him the Doctor. I think he builds guitars or something. He's a decent player. But, you know, he's an older guy and, you know, he's of his time. Let's put it that way. So when I went up the first time, I went up and because I'm a front man in a band here, I'm quite confident anywhere. Like I can talk to, just put me on stage anywhere with a guitar and a band, and I can talk shit for any amount of time to anybody. But I get very socially awkward talking one-on-one, like after or before the gig, or even on like breaks are the worst. Because I'll be honest with you, because most people just want to talk at you. And in fact, that should probably make it easier. The fact that, you know, they come up to you and go, "Hey, Gary, what's that guitar you're using?" And I'll be like, "Well, it's a..." And they'll be like, "Oh, because I've got a..." And then it's like 10 minutes of them just telling me about their guitar. Which is kind of easier. I suppose I should just enjoy that because, you know, there was so many years before anybody ever wanted to talk to me about my gear that I would have loved it if they came up and started talking to me about gear. But now that it's been like 15 years of doing that, you know, in the pubs every night, and it's like, really? Well, you just asked me a question about my gear, and as soon as I opened my mouth to answer you, you gave me a 15-minute speech about your guitars and your pedals and your amps. I didn't ask. I don't know who you are. I don't know what band you're in. If you are in a band, I don't I mean, I sometimes, it's kind of weird. I don't want to say I don't care because that sounds very rude, but I don't. Anyway, once again, I've fucking deviated from the point. I was going to tell you about this collaborative album that I've got going on. I was talking about how playing music with people is so beautiful to me. It's like you get to know somebody. You kind of get to see inside people's souls when you play alongside them. I don't mean to get all spiritual on that. I'm not a hippie or anything like that. But when it comes to this kind of stuff, I really feel passionately about it. It's that's why I really feel blessed to be able to play. Blessed? I've never said that word in my fucking life. No, I just feel really lucky to be in a band with my brother because we are like, as much as he would probably hate to admit it, we're like the closest thing to each other musically that we're ever going to get. Like, we both love Busted, McFly, John Mayer, Rage Against the Machine, Foo Fighters, Nirvana, Avril Lavigne, all pop punk, Blink-182, Green Day. Like, I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, you got imagine being Gibby or a drummer who loves like prog rock and metal, having to play with us. But me and Dean are just lucky in a way that. Plus, Dean likes Oasis as well, which is, you know, for me and Dean, there's two different timelines of where we both got into our favourite bands. Like, look at Oasis, right? He didn't get into Oasis until, like, songs like Lila. You know, so that was like Oasis's fifth album. And I can't even remember what the bloody hell it was called. Lila, was that on Heathen Chemistry? It was Don't Believe the Truth. Yeah, it was Be Here Now, then Heathen Chemistry, then Don't Believe the Truth. So he got into them then. I was in Oasis at definitely maybe in Morning Glory because I'm 41, as I said earlier. Dean is 8 years younger than me, and yet he got into the same band with a different set of songs, you know, a totally different vibe, almost completely different lineup, and yet he got into the same band. Same thing with Green Day, right? I was into Green Day at Dookie, Nimrod, you know, Insomniac. No, not Insomniac. Was it Insomniac? I'm pretty sure it was. And yet he got into Green Day around the American Idiots time. In fact, I've got to tell you, man, we played Basket Case and Longview and hitching a ride at this pub gig. Well, it was a couple of years ago now, this pub gig, and then somebody who was about, to be fair, about 19 or 20, comes up and says, "Have you got any Green Day?" I mean, I don't know whether to laugh or not at that. We played Longview, hitching a ride, in Basket Case, and the guy comes up 2 minutes later and goes, "Have you got any Green Day?" And I was like what? And he was like, he said, Jesus of Suburbia, American Idiot, Bang Bang, Revolution Radio. And I was like, oh my God, this all makes sense, because American Idiot, the album, was like a total it was such a resurgence and such a like Phoenix from the Flames for that band, that there are some people that are in their 20s or early 20s right now that might not even realise that the Green Day had anything before that. You know what I mean? Or at the time, you know, when you're getting into a band that have just, oh my God, this band Green Day. Plus, they still look pretty young. Like, Billy Joe is like one of these people who is just going to be young for eternity. Speaking of young for eternity, the Subways, 3-piece band from England, I think they're from Yorkshire. They've got a new album. They've got a new tour coming out, which is 20 years of their debut album, Young for Eternity. If you've ever seen the film Rock and Roller with Vinnie Jones, you'll know the song Rock and Roll Queen. Be my little rock and roll queen. Plus the bass player Charlotte was absolutely fucking stunning. We played, when I was in the band Rocket Fox, which we'll talk about on another podcast, when I was in a band called Rocket Fox, we supported them on their Scottish tour. And we were a 3-piece with a girl bass player, and the Subways were a 3-piece with a girl bass player. So I was actually very surprised that they agreed to allow us on their tour, because you would think it'd be conflict of opinion. But we went down great, and obviously, because they're incredible. The Subways are the most... Subways, especially Billy, the singer, might be the most high-energy 3-piece I have ever seen in my life. Like, all three of them are absolute head cases on stage, just throwing themselves about. Some of their stuff's pretty difficult to play while you're throwing yourself about, I mean. But some of it's really easy. And I think for that reason, I think they made it simple. I think they made the music simple because they wanted to be able to like have an energetic live show as just a 3-piece. Like Billy Lunn, the singer, has got no option but to play guitar and sing, because he doesn't have a guitar player to fall back on. Now, the reason I brought up the Subways is because I was talking about Green Day there, Young for Eternity. Now, Billy Joe made the very wise decision many moons ago, I think it was around the American Idiot album actually, to get another guitar player whose name escapes me right now. Dean would be able to tell you, because he's fanatical about Green Day. That's my brother Dean, the bass player in my band. So Billy Joe made the decision to get another guitar player so that he could run about the stage like a maniac, singing into the crowd, getting the crowd to sing, throwing his guitar about, jumping about, chatting to the crowd. You know, he could quite happily miss out chords or riffs or whatever, because he always know that the backup guy's there. I wouldn't even say he was the backup guy, because he's probably a better guitar player than Billy, you know. But it was such a wise move, I think, for the stage show. And I don't think the guy plays on the records, because whenever you see Green Day in like media shoots and that, it literally is just the three of them. It's Billy, it's Mike Dirnt on the bass, and it's Trey Cool on the drums. But the other guy comes in to do the live shows, I think, for that reason. I always wondered if I would ever do that at that level. But I don't know. I think I would prefer to be like a, not that I would ever be as talented as, but I would prefer to just put on like a Richie Kotzen style show where it's just quite subtle, and it's like just the fans of the songs and the music just enjoying it, rather than playing big stadiums and outdoor festivals where it's like a fucking spectacle. You know what I mean, who knows? Because I'm probably never going to get to either level. You can still try, though. You can still try. Which brings me to my next point. My next project is going to be called MexiGary and Friends. It's a 10-track album, which we'll probably put out 1 or 2 singles at a time onto all your favourite streaming platforms, including this one, YouTube. And I might as well read you the track list right now. Some of these songs are old songs, some of them are brand new, some of them have been in pipeline for a while, unreleased, but they all feature, as I said earlier, other local sensational musicians. So here it goes. Track 1, Our Love, featuring Charlotte Marshall, which is going to be quite a John Mayer trio kind of thing, or at least what he did on the Search for Everything album, that kind of funky, bluesy soul thing. Well, I guess that's what he does all the time, but there's a couple of tunes on that, like Still Feel Like a Man. We're going for that kind of vibe. So that's track 1, featuring Charlotte Marshall from Charlotte Marshall in the 45s, or the Wolf Jam on Sundays, or the Bateco Jam on Thursdays, which I shouldn't advertise because it's at the same time as my Wolf gigs. Okay. Track number 2 is a song called Ace in the Hole. Ace in the Hole, which if you do some digging, you might be able to find a demo of that, which is on Spotify. Ace in the Hole. And this is going to feature 2 musicians from a band called Face the Silence in Glasgow. One of them's called Doug Jagger, and he is the lead singer of Face the Silence. And the guitar solo is going to be played by a guy called George David Russell, who is one of my favourite shredders. And that's all I can say about George. Great tone, great vibe, great looking, great Scot. He's a lovely player. So he's going to be doing a solo on the song called Ace in the Hole. Fun fact about Ace in the Hole, it's in drop C. Like, you know, I'm normally in drop E flat or D sharp, you know, just mainly because of my vocal range and the fact that we do so many gigs. I'm just like, I'm not singing up there all the time. My voice would be knackered. I'm built for distance, not speed, right? I'll do a gig every night of the week if you let me take Proud Mary down a semitone. All right, shut up. Right, track number 3 is called Right Here, Right Now. And it's this song's about, fuck me, this one must be about 15 years old. And this is going to feature another local guitar player, singer extraordinaire, and a very sexy man, Mr. Craig John McGill. Now, yeah, like I said, it's a bit of an Oasis vibe, this, and Craig's into Oasis. I think he's Team Noel. Is he Team Liam or Noel? I can't remember, but this song's going to feature him anyway. It's a little bit like Round Our Way / Rock and Roll Star. So it's very early Oasis vibes on this one. Right Here, Right Now, that one's called. Track 3, I knew I was going to have John McEntire from The Rocks on one song, but I was trying to figure out which one it would be, because John covers so many genres, not only in his covers, but in his own music as well. Rock, funk, soul, pop, blues, jazz. So I didn't know what to do, but then I remembered that years ago he had mentioned that he wanted to cover this song, Lock the World Out, which again is on the same album as Ace in the Hole is. So if you find one, you'll find the other. But they're just demos, and just average sounding demos, because I was playing the drums on them and I can't play drums for shit. So John McEntire's going to be on the new version of Lock the World Out. And by the way, me and Gibby are producing this all ourselves. So if it sounds shit, we've only got ourselves, to blame. Right, number 5, The Missing Part of Me, featuring, I mean, if you've heard that song, it sounds like Goo Goo Dolls / Bryan Adams. So there's only one man for that fucking job, isn't there? Mr. Alex Jigga-da-jing-da-jing Wait. And yes, it does have a capo on the second. Nah, he's probably just going to sing on that one. I'll do all the guitars and he's just going to come in and do a bit of singing. Now, the next one, and I'm getting a bit rude now because I haven't really asked anybody else on this list if they want to be part of this record. So I've got a couple of ideas for a girl called Nicola Taylor, who's a phenomenal singer, and you might have seen her on my podcast once on Twitch. Beautiful girl, beautiful lady, and a beautiful singer. And I'm looking forward to seeing what I could do with her, because at first I was thinking about doing a ballad, like a wee funky, soul-y kind of ballad, because of most of the stuff that she does is like that. She's like a kind of Mariah Carey, that kind of thing, but like cooler than that, like funkier than that, more R&B. Check her out on YouTube anyway. Nicola Taylor, Taylor. So at first I was thinking about doing like a rock ballad with her. I've got an old song called Bombshell that it's maybe a bit too wishy-washy. It's a bit Snow Patrol for Nicola to sing on. So I thought maybe I'll do another song with her. So I've not figured it out yet. But yeah, she's definitely going to feature. Now the next song is going to... it's called Not Cool. And I really want me and Dee McLaren to sing on this one. It's because I think his vocal range will really suit it, because it's a little bit Audio Slave, it's a little bit Chili's. Not that Andy Nikitis can fucking sing, but it's got that kind of vibe to it. It's Audio Slave, Chili's, a little bit Muse, maybe. Yeah, I can't say much more about that one, to be honest. The only reason I mentioned the Chili's is because it's got a bass line that goes through it, whilst the guitar chords play different chords. So it's like the same bass riff throughout, and the guitar changes, right? So that's something that the Chili's sometimes do. Anyway, so the last three on the record's going to be something with Gus Monroe, something that I maybe have to write yet, or maybe we could write it together. Something in open E, because Gus Monroe is famous for playing open E guitar on his SG. I think he's one of the most genius guitar players on the circuit at the moment. And that's not even for me to say, because Gus has been in the Glasgow scene for a lot longer than I have. Gus might be one of the first guitar players that I actually saw and met when I first moved to Glasgow in about 2007. Yeah, must have been 7. Man, time used to move a lot slower back then. I don't know, it's because you're younger. It's so true that the older you get, the quicker time goes. And I don't know if that's because you sleep more, or maybe for me because I'm drunk more. But it's a weird thing, because 3 years back then, so much happened. So much different stuff happened in like 3 years. Between moving to Glasgow and being a full-time musician was only 3 years. But then it's been 15 years since I went full-time, and it feels like 6 months, really. Even though we've just done so much in that time, so many gigs. In fact, I'm pretty sure the gig we did last night at the Tay Park Hotel, is it Tay Park? Tay Park House in Dundee, Scotland. I'm pretty sure that was close to our 1400th wedding. So that's disgusting. It's just weird to think, how many hours have we spent on the road, travelling to venues, setting up at venues? Oh, I got to tell you, well, I'll just tell you quickly. We're looking at I'm looking at buying the Bose L1 Pro PA system. So if anybody knows anything about the Bose L1 Pro system that I haven't already seen online, let me know. You know, I've been watching countless YouTube videos, read countless reviews. It seems like the right thing for us. Because basically the only thing that's going through the PA for us at weddings is going to be 2 vocals, a kick drum, and a little bit of guitar for spread. Because we've got a live backline. There's even bands. There was a 9-piece band that I saw on YouTube that were putting like brass, loads of backing vocals, the entire kit, all through these 2 like little line array rigs, and they were like, "Yeah, it's probably only big enough for like a 200 capacity room." And I'm like, "Wait, I'm surprised you can do it at all with that much shit going through this tiny little line array thing." So I don't think we're gonna have a problem with that. With 2 vocals and a kick drum, you know, and a little bit of guitar, it's not gonna be an issue. Anyway, we'll talk about that another time. But if you do have any info on it, please let me know in the comments, or drop me a DM just to let me know, because it is 1,500 quid aside for the L1 Pro 16s. That's what we're looking at getting. I don't think the 32 can be much different from the 16, but again, you could probably let me know. Geek chat over. So I was going to let you know who else is going to be on this collaborative record. Got a guy called Ben Stones. You probably know him. I've talked about him before. He's a brilliant producer, brilliant guitar player, brilliant keyboardist / pianist, and that's what I want him to do on this record. I want him to play piano on a ballad called Forget You Again. So yeah, he's going to be on that. And then There's another track called You Only Want What You Can't Get. I always throw at least one. You might have noticed if you've listened to all my records on Spotify and that, I always have at least one song that's got like a standard bluesy or like rock and roll vibe to it, just to keep just to dip a toe in that, pond, and just to keep my hat in there, just keep my chops up, and just to remind myself where I came from in this at this next level. There's always pop punk, there's always a little bit of new metal, there's always blues rock, but just to play a standard blues song on the record, it really means a lot to me to make sure that I can chuck one in, even on a 10-track record, and especially it means even more that I can get somebody that's great at it to play on it with me. So that's why I've got George Sinclair from Carnaby Street on the bass. I've got I'm gonna have Archie McCune on the keys. I'm going to have a guitar solo from Gav McCrory, and who knows, I might even have some keys from Ben Stones on that one as well. So, it's shaping up to be a very eclectic record. We've got soul, new metal, Britpop, funk / soul. We've got that kind of, what would you call it, Goo Goo Dolls? Is that Americana? It's not really Americana, is it? What is Americana, really? I think Americana might be like Bruce Springsteen's most chilled bits. Maybe Willie Nelson, or is that folk? I don't really dabble in folk. Anyway, the missing part is one of them jing jing jigga da jing da jing jigga jigga jing jing jigga jing, one of them kind of things. So it's a little bit. Just by the way, if there's anybody listening to this podcast that's got a remote recording set up that wants to do something with me as a collaborative thing, why don't we get in touch with each other and just like make it happen? I did it for the song Locked Down during lockdown, and I had like I wrote the song and I played guitar and sang. Obviously, I had a couple of guys from Scotland singing on it. I had a guy from Nashville playing bass on it. I had a guy from Chicago playing keys on it. I had a guy from England playing guitar on it, and it was all done remotely because it was during like the first 6 months of lockdown. And I bloody loved the process. It was quite stressful, just because I wasn't used to like files and sending everything in the right tempos and stuff. But when your back's against the wall, as everybody's was during COVID, you kind of figure out a way to keep your passion going. And I don't know if I would have survived lockdown if I hadn't learned how to do that. Even now, when I watch back some of my YouTube stuff that I did on Twitch, I've got loads of stuff on YouTube on this channel. If you scroll down and down and down to like 2021 or even 2020, so many videos, and it's like I've got the chat going on the screen, I've got loads of graphics going on, I've got backing tracks, I've got loopers, and I've forgotten how to do most of that shit since then because I've got back to the live thing. I'm playing in front of like 100 to 200 people most nights with a live band. So, and I'm not saying I miss it, but I regret not keeping it up, if you know what I mean, because these are required skills going forward. It's not enough to play live gigs anymore if you want to expand your business as a musician. You need to know how to do everything, and that includes, live streaming, just constantly putting out tunes, putting out reels, making sure your live reels sound good, getting home and mixing and, chucking them into the video, putting them up, chopping them up, scheduling them, all this kind of stuff. It's stuff that I didn't want to have to learn, but we have to now because people don't buy albums anymore, do they? And to be fair, who knows? Even if it was the 90s or the 90s when people were still buying records, I don't know if they would buy mine. I'm happy just to get my music out there. And this podcast is just another way to, spread the word on what I'm doing. So again, if you've listened this far, thank you very much for checking out the podcast. It's called Lovely Stuff. It comes out every Sunday or Monday, and my name's MexiGary, and I'm a musician in Glasgow, Scotland. I play guitar and I sing. I write songs. I put them online. I play with loads of different people, live and in the studio. Hopefully I'll be coming to your town soon and you get to see us live. But if you are about Glasgow this week, let me just tell you where I'm going to be at. I'm going to be playing, what's the day? It's Sunday. So Monday I will be at the Howling Wolf Glasgow from 11 till 1. Solo, I'm going to be at Malone's, which is next door to Howlin' Wolf round the back alleyway, on Tuesday from 9:30 till about 11:30. And again, I'll be on my own, just playing the greatest hits of rock and pop and blues. On the 26th, I will be with Three Card Trick at Stramash, Edinburgh, after midnight. That's an exciting one because we've got Alex playing bass with us that night. Alex from the Lockharts, Alex Waite, who I talked about earlier, who's going to feature on my new album, MexiGary and Friends. We're not out anywhere on Thursday because I messed up the diary. We should have been doing Wolf, but I told them we were going to be off because we were supposed to be having a couple of weeks of holidays, but I decided not to take a holiday. But it was too late by then. They'd already got somebody else, so that was fine. So on the 28th, Friday the 28th, I want you all to come and see me at Lucky Strike. I want you all to come and see me at all of the gigs, but specifically this one because I'm trying to get this as a regular one. All the other ones are already regulars, and I love them all, but this one is a new one. So as I did with all the other ones, I'm pushing the new one. So the Friday, the 28th of March, I'll be at a place called Lucky Strike, Mitchell Street, Glasgow. It's down by Central Station, and I'll be on from 8 till 10, and I'm going to be playing rock, basically Kerrang. I'm going to be playing acoustic versions of things like Incubus, Linkin Park, Blink-182, Green Day, Foo Fighters, Rage Against the Machine, Audio Slave, Soundgarden, Nirvana. Oh, it's going to be great. Bowling for Soup, Busted, maybe even Primus. Oh, it'll be great. President's USA, whatever you want to hear. 28th, 8 till 10, this Friday coming. I'm going to love that one. And then the 30th, Sunday the 30th, I've got a birthday party. Next Sunday, I'll be on here again telling you about what we're doing next week. So thanks very much for checking out the podcast, guys. Oh, there was some gear I wanted to talk to you about, but I've already hit 55 minutes. This has been the longest podcast yet. I'm sorry if it's been boring for some of you, but I'll talk to you more next week about some gear and some goofy, geeky shit. Drop us a link in the drop us a comment in the comment section if you've got anything you want me to talk about next week, guys. But otherwise, I'll see you either at a gig or online on a live stream. Love you all. Fuck off.